for you. Now that we've understood the various study designs, it's important to sample the group of individuals who will actually participate in the research. We have with us today the driven, dynamic Dr. Dheeraj Kalra sir, who will help us understand the difference between population and a sample and also identify the target population of the research. Dr. Dheeraj Kalra sir has done his UG from Nair Dental College and Hospital, Mumbai, and MDS in Public Health Dentistry from College of Dental Sciences, Davangere. Sir holds a reader's post and is currently um, in charge of the department with 7.5 years of teaching experience. Sir is currently doing his PhD in clinical research under the UGC. Sir is a consultant advisor and statistician for prestigious institutes and universities in India, Malaysia, and UAE. Sir has won numerous awards during his UG and PG and has around 42 publications to his credit in various national and international journals and is an eminent speaker in his specialty. I'm sure listening to all of this, you're convinced that we have absolutely the best to guide us. I'd like to invite Dr. Dheeraj Kalra sir to kindly take over. Thank you.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for the beautiful introduction. Fine. So I'll start my screen share. Just let me know if my screen is visible. Yeah, is it visible? Am I
Yes, it
audible?
Yes,
is.
sir.
Okay, great. Fine. So the topic given to me is population versus sample, as correctly described. That yes, we have covered majority of the study designs, I guess. So it could be descriptive, analytical, cross-sectional, or case control, cohort, randomized control trials, experimental, what all. So we need samples to run a study. We need few people to be a part of our study, be it any kind of study, that doesn't matter. We cannot sample, we cannot study the whole population. So how many of you agree to me? We cannot study everyone in the community. Yes, you can unmute yourself and you can say, or you can write in the chat box. So can we study everyone? Yes or no? I want responses.
No, you can't.
Okay, we
Sorry, this
cannot.
is Shraddha.
Yes.
Okay.
So we cannot study everyone in the community. I'll just give you a simple example. So I think we all are from dental background. So how much time do we take to examine a oral cavity and arrive at a diagnosis? Minimum time? 20 minutes? 30 minutes? 10 minutes? Any answers?
So 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, so let's take 20 minutes. I want 20 minutes per case just to examine. Okay. So just examination and taking, suppose, just a simple index as DMFT. Okay. What is population of India? What was the population of India in 2011 census? Any takes? It was 1.2 billion of the 7.2 billion world population. So if I want to examine everyone in India, 1.2 billion into 20 minutes, these many minutes I would require, divided by 24 hours and divided by 365 days, and I would divide by various time spans. I would at least require 30 years to complete the examination of everyone. So till then, I think the population would be doubled and my results will no longer be valid because the population has changed. So that is a practical difficulty. We cannot study everyone. Now I was giving you just a observational study. Now experimental study. Can I divide half India for mouthwash A and half India for mouthwash B? You'll start using mouthwash A and you'll start using mouthwash B. Is it possible? Can we do this? Any takes? Can we? No, we cannot. So the point is we cannot study everyone because of various constraints. We'll see in detail. So we need a sample. We need few people who would be a part of the study. That is called as sampling techniques and sample size estimation. So we'll go ahead in the topic. So I just want to take one poll from you all. You can go to this website called www.minty.com from your phones or laptops, whatever is convenient for you. And you can use this passcode and you can type in your response there. So how important is research for you? So can you tell me? So please go to this website and start your responses. Yes. How important is research to you? How important is statistics to you? Yeah. Please start responding. Did you find this website?
Sir, can you please reshare the code?
Yeah. I'll just share. Yes, this is the code. So it's an open-ended sort of question. You can type in your responses. Yeah, make it fast because otherwise we'll run it out of time. Yeah. So are you done? I'm not able to see any response.
So I think it's showing no active question for this presentation on the site you have mentioned on the screen.
Okay, but I have activated. Okay, fine. So there could be a technical problem. Okay, so can the participants unmute themselves and talk? The organizers?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So can you just tell me this response? Why is statistics and research important to me? Anyone?
Sir, it helps explore us various opportunities that are available in our particular area of
Okay.
interest.
Great. Fine. Any other response?
Research might help you to change your mindset about a
Okay.
certain thing.
Okay. Great. Fine. Any other response?
Probably know the current scenario of the current scenario, what is going on, like in COVID-19, what is exactly happening. Research can help us know about it.
Okay. Great. Fine. So in short, you all agree that research is important and will somewhere or the other add up to the medical literature and it will add up to the evidence. Fine. Great. Fine. So in this session, why sampling is important, what are the types of sampling procedures, and we may, if the time permits, we'll see the formulae for various types of studies. Okay. So what is sampling technique? So I would request one of the participants to unmute and just tell me who is there. Abhay. Yeah, you're there. Okay. So did you go and purchase a grocery anytime physically? Not online, physically? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So did you check every grain of rice you bought?
No.
Probably not, sir.
No. Practically, is it possible?
No.
We cannot check every grain of rice. Otherwise, the shopkeeper will throw us out. Okay. Fine. So what do we do? From these various goni, the grocery which is kept in gunny bags. So what do we do? What do we do? We pick few, check the quality, texture, smell, grain size, appearance, whatever. And then we assume that, yes, if this is the condition for the sample, I think the quality for the entire goni will be similar, will be same. Yes. So this is our assumption that if I study few people from the population, I think the results would be applicable to the rest of them. So this is what is the basic idea of sampling. So what is sampling? It's the procedure by which few members of the population are selected as representatives of the entire population. One second, I'll just mute. I'm having a parallel workshop and the organizer is calling. Just hello. Yeah, sorry for the interruption. Yeah, so sampling is the procedure by which few members are selected from the population as the representatives. For example, we have a CR. CR is the class representative. So the entire batch responds to the CR, or if something happens, we catch hold of the CR if there is a mass bunk or something. So this is the representative of that class. So sample is the representative of the population. Okay, am I clear till now? Yes. So why do we do sampling and not study everyone? Because sampling makes our work or the research cost effective. We can study few in detail rather than studying many without a detail. And it reduces time, manpower requirements, and human errors. So all these things will be reduced. Now, what is a population and a target population? So population, as you all know, it's whole, complete, comprises of everyone in the community. Am I clear? Am I audible? Okay. So what is a target population? So I'll give you an example. Can anyone respond for this? Just say whether I'm going correct or I'm going wrong in saying that I sampled 5,000 people who were males and I concluded that breast cancer is 12% prevalent in this sample. Am I correct? Am I correct?
No, sir.
So I'm not correct. Why?
You've not chosen your target population correctly.
Exactly. So population comprises of males and females both. But if I am studying a particular disease which is there only in a particular gender, I cannot extrapolate it or apply the result of this onto the other subgroup. I cannot say that breast cancer is so much in males. It's not valid. So population, although consists of everything, target population is the thing, is the population, is the subgroup of that population on whom the results will be applicable to. One more example. So every one of you must have gone for a camp at least, or nowadays because COVID is there, so maybe you have not seen a camp. But yeah, if you go to a school and you check 12-year-old kids, how many of them have dental caries? Suppose the DMFT comes to be on an average 2.5. Will this be applicable for a geriatric population? Will this result be applicable? Yes or no? Any responses?
No.
No, it won't be applicable. Because again, your whole population consists of geriatric, pediatric, adult, middle-aged, everyone. Male, female, everyone. But your target population is not the whole population. Am I coming to that point? Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So what is a sample? Sample is a subset of the target population. So let's not call whole population from now on. We'll say target population. If I'm giving a drug, maybe an oral hypoglycemic drug for diabetic individuals, it lowers the blood sugar level. The results will be applicable for diabetic population, not for a whole population, not for a complete population. Fine. So what is a sampling unit? Every member of the population which has a potential to be chosen as a sample is a sampling unit. Okay. So every individual is a sampling unit. Sampling frame. So what is a sampling frame? If I go to a school and obtain the list who all study in this school, the list would be there with the principal's office. So that list becomes the sampling frame. From this frame, I can choose randomly various kids to be a part of my study. Yellow pages was a telephone directory earlier, a hard copy. So I can randomly choose people, phone numbers from that yellow pages. Nowadays, we may use some other database, maybe a Truecaller or something else. Okay, fine. So this list basically is the sampling frame. Sampling design. So the plan which I follow is the design. So how from the sampling frame I choose my samples is the sampling design. This Vineet sir also showed this slide. So from the whole population, we have this target population. From that, the size reduces to accessible, and from that, the size still reduces to sample. So the target population could be all females of India. Again, that may not be possible to study. Okay, for a particular disease. So I have accessible population. So within that area where I stay in my city is my accessible population. But again, if I stay in a mega city, it will be a problem. I cannot study everyone. And everyone won't be a part of my study because of the ethical concerns, because of the consent, because of the inclusion exclusion criteria which I set. So I still cut down to sample, which may be feasible for me to study. Next, sampling objectives. So why are we doing sampling and what is the entire procedure of research? So I take this as target population. From target population, I have drawn few samples and I do the research, be it any kind of research, be it observational, experimental, any type of research. I collect the data and draw results from this sample. And I assume that this result should belong to the target population, should be applicable to the target population. So I am extrapolating this result onto the target population. Am I clear with this? Any doubts till now?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So how do we select a sample? So again, we have two methods, probability and non-probability sampling. So simple English, probability is giving a fair chance of everyone to be selected is probability. So this fair chance may be a known or unknown chance. So I am giving a fair chance of everyone to be selected is probability. What is non-probability? I'm not giving a fair chance for everyone to be a part of my sample to be selected. So I'm not giving a fair chance because could be I have certain, choosing criteria, selection criteria. I have certain biases in my mind. I have a set theory in my mind, or as the need persists, I have to go for non-probability at times. But yes, probability is always beneficial, always better when compared to non-probability. So probability, as you all know now, what is probability? Can anyone answer? Can I have responses?
Having an
Probability,
equal chance to
equal
get
chance.
selected.
Non-probability, not a fair chance, not
Not
an
a fair
equal chance.
chance.
But at times we'll see you have to go for non-probability also. Fine. Next, probability sampling. So there are various other methods like simple random, systematic, stratified, multi-stage, multi-phase, area or cluster. We'll see each one in detail. Non-probability, there are certain other methods like purposive, convenience, quota, saturation, and snowball. So we'll see one by one. So, okay, I'll give you examples so that it becomes very simple to understand. But I would be needing your responses as well. Okay, fine. So now tell me, I have a class of 100 BDS students. I want to randomly choose any 10. How should I go about? Can anyone
You
answer?
call out any random numbers.
So I have the roll call, roll
Hmm.
number list. Without knowing their names, without looking at their faces, I randomly call any roll numbers. Fine. So have I given a fair chance for everyone? Yes. So there was a fair chance for anyone to be selected. Okay. So how do we do this? We do by a lottery method or a computer assisted software. So lottery method, cheat system, balls method, all these are outdated. Nowadays, we should not write all this in the article or in the manuscript. We should not even do it because all these can lead to certain kind of biases. Lottery may be bias hote hain, everyone knows. Okay. Now a table which is generated by a computer. It's a random table, random generation. So if I just give to the computer command that yes, I have 0 to 100 people and randomly I want 10. So it will give call out 10 numbers automatically. And it is so random that if I do here and you do there, the numbers will not match. It is very random. So it is a proper method of doing so. But where we can do this, we can do when the population is small, readily available and homogeneous. So a class of BDS students, as I gave the example, it is small, readily available and homogeneous. Everyone almost is of the same age or maybe, you know, under same stress or under same exam pressure, or everyone doesn't like the same professor, whatever. So it cannot be used when the population is large and scattered. So I cannot randomly call one person from Mumbai, one person from Pune, one person from Jammu Kashmir. So that becomes very difficult when the population is scattered and is large, because it may have certain other factors which I'm not taking into consideration, which we'll see in the next one. Now next one. So yeah, I have 100 people. I want to choose any 20. So sample size, total population is 100, sample size is 20. So 100 divided by 20 becomes 5. So every fifth individual I take. So fifth individual, suppose the first person I took was 4, roll number 4, 9, 14, 19. So this is how the sequence goes. So every fifth person I am taking. So now you will ask me, sir, how this becomes probability, because I'm not giving a fair chance to roll number 8 or 10. Because you already know 9s will be selected, 14s will be selected. Again, 13 and 15 did not get a chance. Yes. Is that the condition? Yes, that is the condition. So the first sequence 1 to 5 determines the further sequence. So if I happen to choose 3 randomly, so the sequence would be 8, 13, 18. So I'm giving a fair chance for everyone because this is the deciding factor, the first 5 numbers. Am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now stratified random. So in the population, we have various strata. Strata means class of people. So I think everyone is aware of middle class, low class, high class. So we may have a Kuppuswamy classification for SES, socioeconomic stratification. So strata means class of people. Okay, now my study is, suppose I want to find DMFT among this population. You can see my pointer. Okay, so this population comprises of rich class, middle class, and the poor class. What happens if I randomly choose, if I do a simple random? There is a high chance that all rich class people come into my study. What happens? Rich class people may have less KVs or more KVs, whatever the case may be. So let's imagine they have less KDs, but the poor class has high KDs. Those are not representatives of this sample. And what my results will say, that this population had less KDs. But is that the true condition? That is not the true situation, because I could not sample out other classes. I am giving my conclusion halfway. So it would be better if I randomly, not randomly, I can divide them into the strata, upper class, middle class, and lower class. And then I choose a simple random from each of the stratum. And while reporting, I cannot report now for the whole population. I need to report only for the stratum. That Keres was so and so in upper class, Keres was so and so in lower class and middle class. Okay, so this would be a proper way. Am I clear? Am I
Yes,
clear?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So it is applicable for a non-homogeneous population, wherein the representatives will be equally and chosen from various strata. Next, cluster or area sampling. So cluster is where people stay in close proximity to each other. So a locality is a cluster, but a school also is a cluster. A ward, a village is a cluster. A township is a cluster. So I can take cluster sampling. So I can take people from that cluster. Or area sampling. So suppose there is a river which runs through the middle of the city. It divides the city into area 1, that side of the river, and area 2, this side of the river. Maybe the socioeconomic conditions change on that side and this side, and maybe the health also changes this side and that side. So I need to take people equally from both the sides. That is called area sampling. So you can have a look, and this certain houses would be there on this side of the river, that side of the river. So it has divided the city into various sections. Okay. Now next is multi-stage. So if I want to do a large survey, a countrywide survey, I cannot take a simple random because there is linguistic barriers. The states are divided as per languages. Cultures will differ across each state. A caste or a area. So I'll select few states initially. Then from those states, I'll select few districts. From each district, I'll select few villages. So the states could be from north, from east, from northeast, from south, from west, randomly, to have an equal representation of all these factors which I just spoke. From those again states, I can select various types of districts. Maybe in North Karnataka, South Karnataka, or Maharashtra if you are saying West Maharashtra, East Maharashtra. Okay. Maharashtra accompanying MP border, Gujarat border, Karnataka border, AP border. So all those we can take because those will be having influences. Fine. This is as per WHO. This is, you may have answered in your vivas in, I think, in your third year or fourth year. So the WHO index ages and age groups for a survey. So 5, 12, 15. So 12 is the global monitoring age. This is for adult. This is for geriatric population. The reasons you know why we choose these ages. This is again a part of National Pathfinder survey wherein if we take 4 sites of a large town, 2 sites of 2 large towns, and 1 site of 4 villages, I have 12 sites. If I take 25 subjects per site, I get 300. So 300 could be the sample size. If I'm doing this in 4 areas countrywide, I can have a 1200 sample. Or if I take 4 ages, again 1200 would be sufficient enough for me. This of the disease, I choose people. Suppose I am planning for a DOTS treatment and I have limited supply of DOTS and I want to give in phase 1, I'll select all cases. In phase 2, I'll do X-ray examination and I'll filter out those who are actually having positive cases. In phase 3, I'll again do sputum examination or Mantoux or some interference I give dot treatment to them. So all these were probability samplings. So wherein we were giving a fair and equal chance for everyone to be selected. Next is non-probability. The first kind is purposive, deliberate, or judgmental sampling. So this is the population comprising of all these colors. Suppose these colors are individuals. I want to study only greens. This is my purpose of the study. Why should I waste time on other colors? So this is my purpose of the study. This is purposive sampling. So suppose I want to study only diabetics. Why should I waste time on non-diabetic population? I want to study only males. Why should I include females? Okay, so this is the purpose. So deliberately I am taking them. So that is called deliberate sampling. Or my judgment says that yes, males will have this disease. That's the judgment of the researcher. So he's taking only that sample. So non-purposive, non-probability is not always bad. It may save time. When the purpose is to study only rich class, so take only rich class. Don't waste time on the other classes. Am I clear? Any difficulties till now? Are you all awake or post lunch everyone is sleepy?
No, sir, we are here.
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Yes. Next is quota sampling. So I have assigned that I will take only 100 males and 100 females in the study. That is quota, fixed quota. Once I finish with 100 males, I'll stop taking further males. Once I finish with 100 females, I'll stop taking 100 females, more females. So this is generally used for public opinion study because 100 से क्या होता है? Percentage calculation will be very simple. Domino's gives 99.99 satisfaction rate. So it has sampled 100 people. Of that, 99 or more told that it is good. So this is called as quota sampling. Convenience or chunk sampling. I'll give you a funny example. I'm a reader in charge HOD of a dental college department. So all the third year, fourth year BDS students and interns are at my disposal. Don't take it personally. Okay. So unke internal marks are in my hands. Their attendance is in my hands. So people are very scared of me. Okay. So I give a survey, rate my lecture. And in front of me, they have to rate. So what they will write? What they will write?
Only good responses.
Yes. So I'm doing a study from a population which is convenient to me. And in chunks, in huge numbers, I can pick them. This is mostly what we do. We should not do, but yes, we do. So we lure the people visiting the OPD. आपको treatment free मिल जाएगा hospital में. Be a part of my research. Okay, so all these out of the box, what we do should not be done. Okay, so you understood. Now next question. How did you find my lecture? This is for you all. How did you find my lecture?
It was very informative, sir.
Okay, what's your name, sir? What's your name?
Saurabh, sir. Saurabh.
Saurabh. Okay. Anyone else? I think Saurabh is from technical team. तू cheating कर रहा है. Participant को answer करने देना.
No, sir, no.
Just on a lighter note. Yes. Any participants?
Yeah, hello.
Yes. Your name?
Yeah, Siddhisha.
Yeah. How did you find my lecture?
It was not boring. It was not, maybe you can say monotonous. It had a lot of examples. So yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? I need responses. I'm not taking a poll. Feedback तो आप लोग बाद में देना. P value को. We need sir को. I'm giving an example for saturation sample. So I want responses. Come on. Tell me. It can be bad. It can be good. Tell me. Fatafat. Okay. Someone has written interactive. Yeah. Interactive. Okay. Anyone else?
Easy
Anyone
to
else?
understand with lot
Okay,
of
easy to understand.
examples.
Okay. और कोई जल्दी फटाफट और कोई? Anyone else?
Precise.
Precise. Okay. So all positive things I'm hearing. not boring, informative, interactive, precise. I did not get a single negative response. This is called a saturation sampling. When your saturation has occurred, when all the responses have become almost similar, all are positive responses. There is no negative response. I stop sampling and I conclude the study. If any one of you would have told, sir, bahut paka rahe ho, please stop it, then I would have further investigated ki what is the problem in my lecture. Am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So saturation sampling is when you are getting all similar type of responses. One more example I'll give you. So someone visited a dental college and then there was a scale given, rating scale. Rate the infrastructure of this college. So one person wrote, lifts are not working, plaster फटा हुआ है, staircases are broken, Wi-Fi नहीं है, camera नहीं है. Okay, fine, done. Next person, again same thing. Host has muted me. मैं lecture कैसे लूं? Okay, so camera नहीं है, Wi-Fi नहीं है, lifts are not working, plaster फटा हुआ है. So all these problems are there, but everyone is giving the same response. No further responses are generated, no new responses generated. That means saturation has been achieved. That means this is the fact. So don't give the form to sixth person if 5 have given the same type of response. Sixth wala bhi wahi dega, 10th bhi wahi dega. So stop wasting time on the sampling and now you focus on the results. Am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Next, snowball sampling. So have you ever seen a snowball coming down the mountain? As it starts, it is a very small size. As it runs down, it gathers more snow and the size keeps on increasing. Similarly, to start with, we just started with one person, one participant, which gave references of 2 more, 3 more. So we catch hold of the next person, he will give references of 2 more, 3 more. Example, a drug racket. So catch hold of one drug person, give him a 3rd degree torture, he will give you references for तुझे supply कौन करता है और तू आगे किसको supply करता है. So the entire racket would be exposed in this manner. So we do all this for antisocial element study. Catch hold of one chore, one thief, the entire dacoity का racket exposed हो जाएगा. Am I clear? So this is snowball sampling. So now we'll just conclude what are the biases in sampling. So there could be many biases. So bias due to deliberate selection, due to substitution and faulty randomization and many more. So all these come under selection bias. So basically we are studying this much. You can see my pointer. We are not studying these people who are not a part of your sample. They will give you sampling error. So what to reduce sampling error, I increase the sample size like this. But then what happens? My study becomes lot of lengthy, lot of resource consuming, lot of effort taking research. Okay, so can I have any one participant? Any one participant, your name? Anyone? You can open your mic. Disha, you were just there. Pooja? Anyone? I'm just asking a simple question. Sanika? Pritesh? Anyone? Just open the mic. Don't be scared. I'm not going to eat anyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes. What's your
Dr.
name?
Pritesh. Dr. Pritesh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are an intern or PG?
I'm a faculty.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
So suppose you become my PG.
All right, sir.
I give you a topic, research topic. You have to complete 10,000 population in 1 year.
Okay.
Can you do it for me?
10,000, sorry, sir. Topics?
10,000 population you have to cover.
Oh, yeah,
in 1 year.
Yes, sir, it will be done.
It will be done. Very
Yes.
enthusiastic.
Yeah.
If I would have asked this to a PG or a intern, is it possible?
Yeah, it might be a bit difficult, sir.
Very difficult. Very
Yeah.
difficult. Very
Yeah.
difficult. 10,000 is a huge number, sir.
Huge
Please
number,
try to
right,
make
sir.
it 30, 40, 50.
Right. sir.
This is what we get generally. Responses.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. sir.
Fine. So a very huge sample size practically may not be feasible to complete within the given time span. And we don't have years and years to carry on with the same study. So increasing your sample size would lead to many other types of errors and you will lose the interest in the study. Okay. So what is the advantage, merits of sampling? So it makes our study, research less expensive, less time consuming, and more reliable results can be obtained. And if you are studying few, you can go in much detail rather than studying thousands and with a few detail. Am I clear? Fine. What are the problems or limitations if something is not done properly or not executed properly? It is misleading. The example I gave, I study only rich class and I find that Aries is not there. So that is misleading because I did not do proper sampling. It cannot be relied upon in the absence of qualified and expert people. So your statistician is the right person from the start of your study, designing your protocol, taking a sample size estimation, and your data analysis. Everything he or she would be doing. So please consult a statistician if you are anytime designing a protocol or doing a research right from the start, not at the end. Many times we also get calls. Sir, study finish हो गया, अभी आपको डेटा देना है statistics के लिए, but अभी मेरे पास 5 ही sample हुए sir. So what to do? You cannot do that study because you did not consult us earlier. Otherwise, we could have guided you. With 5, maybe the results which you are obtaining is not valid. It's not planned properly. It's not executed properly. It is not suitable when the information is required from every unit. Government conducts census every 10 years, wherein every family is looked upon for number of people, age, gender, and various other classification methods. So I cannot just run a study in Jammu Kashmir and say, हाँ ये India का scenario. When the population is required from every household unit or every person in the community, I cannot do sampling. I have to go for census. If the sample is over large, your study turns out to be expensive and more time consuming. So you have to plan it. So this is the story of 6 blind men. So actually ye hathi hai, no one knows. So people think this is a spear, this is a snake, this is a tree, this is a rope. So we are just running around. We can only estimate a sample size. We cannot determine. No statistician in the world would say, हाँ 40 ले लो आपको result मिल जाएगा. Result मिल सकता है. It's an estimation. It's not determination. Okay. So this is further reading if you are interested into. So these are the further books you can refer to. Okay. Fine. So any questions and answers? Any questions? I would be happy to answer those questions.
So we take the questions in the Q&A session.
Okay, fine, no problem. So how to calculate a sample size is one query in the chat box. So this part 2 of sample size estimation. So you can just read this line. To call a statistician after the study is done is no more than just doing a post-mortem examination. The statistician would be saying how the experiment died. Okay, so just consult him or her right from the start. I'll just run through few more slides. I think we are overshooting time. So if I have one group before, after, and I'm working with mean and standard deviation, and I'm considering alpha error only, so this is how I should go with a formula. So you can make a note of this formula. We'll take further Q&A in the session later on. So suppose I have just one group before, after, and I want that a mean difference of 10 units should be there. So I substitute this value of D to be 10 with a standard deviation of say 15 units. So I write 15 here. Z alpha value is 1.96. So this you can always know. So if I'm doing two groups comparison, intergroup comparison between two, I want to compare. So I want a estimation of the difference between the two groups. So I can substitute a value of D here. Difference between the two groups. Alpha error, you know. Standard deviation reported in the article. You can substitute a value here. So this is the formula for 2 or more groups basically. Now if I am working with alpha and beta errors both, so this is how the formula changes. Z alpha plus Z beta whole square into 2 into S square upon D square. We can have a hands-on session also, as I think Vineet sir may have planned that we may continue with further those who are interested into a statistics class later on. So we can discuss, we can substitute the values and we can run these formula later on. Yes. Next would be, I'm working with proportions. I know that, the event rate or the cure rate in population A was 80%. In population B, it was 60%. I want to compare the two. I'm estimating that, yes, with 60 and 80, I would determine my sample size. That almost similar result would be obtained. So this is how the proportion formula works. So various types of formulae are there for various study designs. So this is wherein I would just tell you that if you are looking at a large difference, you may work with a small sample size. If you are working with a small difference, your sample size needs to be more. So this is a nomogram, which was earlier used. Nowadays, no one uses this. So this is how the wonderful number 30 has come. So many of the old statisticians generally say 30 le lo ho jayega pura. So this is where this 30 has come. They estimated that a unit difference of 1 should be there with power 80. So this is 30 sample size. So this is how people used to calculate earlier. Now, when you go to a statistician, he or she gives you a formula. Suppose 120 was the sample size, but there could be a possible dropout. So suppose 40% is the dropout rate. People will not come to your treatment, 40%. So you need to adjust your samples. 120 upon 1 minus 0.4. This 40 is converted to 0.4. I can start with 200 people so that even after dropout of 40%, I am left with 120. So this minimum number 120 should be 40. So you start with higher number so that maybe after dropout, you will be left with less number of samples. So there is practically every study design which gives you a different formula for sample size estimation. So if you are working with one group before, after, two groups before, after, more than two. So every scenario, every line in this slide has a different formula. Here also, if you are working with surveys, it has a different formula. If you are doing prevalence, investigation, analytical, pathfinder, everything has a different formula. Case control studies will have different formula. Cohort will have different, cross section will have different. So if you are doing furthermore on statistics, if you want to correlate between two factors, if you are working with agreement between two examiners, sensitivity, specificity, or your outcomes are non-parametric, again, they will end up with different types of formulae. So yes, I would be happy to answer all your queries. You can pen down your queries. We can discuss this on the last session. Fine. So now someone in my workshop asked me, if I don't have a previous literature for values, what should I do? So you can do a pilot study. So pilot study to calculate the sample size. So you can do a small short, maybe on 5 to 10 subjects. If you are working with two groups, take 5 in each group and run a pilot study, see how much difference you are expecting. And then you can give this data to your statistician and he or she may be able to calculate a sample size pertaining on the results of your pilot study. Fine. So this we'll skip now. So as a moral duty and obligation, now all of you 50 participants, be it a staff, be it PG or an intern, have become my students. So as a teacher, I try to make it the best possible manner to make you understand. And if not, further also you can jot down your queries, you can mail me. So there's an email ID mentioned at the base of the slide. There are two phone numbers, both have WhatsApp. You can drop a WhatsApp. We can have a suitable, convenient time to discuss something. Yes, and I would be happy to take your queries. So with this, I think we should conclude.
Thank you so much, sir. You've made understanding sampling so easy for us by giving such nice, relatable examples and making the session so interactive and informative. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Also, I'm sure that the session feedbacks that the participants gave during the session were honest and there is no bias here.
Yeah. Okay. So I just leave
Thank
because
you.
I have one parallel workshop going on.
Sure, sir.